Good morning, 10 News meteorologist Grant Gilmore here with the latest on Hurricane Michael this morning. A Category 4 hurricane now, and it's strengthening. Wind speeds now up at 140 miles per hour as it races towards the Florida Panhandle at 13 miles per hour. Already beginning to see multiple bands of the heavy rain and gusty winds arriving in the Panhandle. Meanwhile, here in Tampa Bay, we're seeing some of the eastern fringe of the outer bands of Michael hitting our coast. Anywhere from Sarasota up to Bradenton, St. Pete, finding those gusty winds embedded within some of the heavier showers and storms, and we will likely continue to see those scattered showers and storms as we go throughout the day today. Breezy conditions as well out there. St. Pete reporting sustained winds of 24 miles per hour with wind gusts at 35 miles per hour. Again, we'll find the breezier, windier conditions within the heavier rainfall today. Closer to the center of the storm, gusts on a buoy, 63 miles per hour. These will continue to increase as we get closer to the eye wall of the storm as it tracks to the north and northeast over the next couple of hours. Michael expected to make landfall around midday today, anytime between noon and 3 o'clock. That's when they'll see the worst of the conditions of the center of the storm moves inland, Panama City to Destin, likely the location of that landfall, but impacts will be felt well out from the center of that storm. Hurricane force winds extend out around 50 miles from the center of the storm. Tropical storm force winds extend out around 175 miles from the center of the storm. Michael will weaken quickly as it moves to the north and east, but the concern for surge will continue with those onshore winds. We could see anywhere between 2 to 4 feet. In fact, some places across Tampa Bay have already seen the impacts of the tidal rise with the winds, along with just the astronomical higher tides that we're finding right now. But look up toward the Big Bend area into the Panhandle. 9 to 13 foot surge. That would be deadly. A catastrophic storm on the way, not just because of the wind, but because of that storm surge inundation that will threaten our coast throughout the day today. This is a forecast model showing you the wind speeds and the rainfall as we go throughout the day. We see scattered showers and storms as the center of the storm passes to the north. We will continue to see those scattered showers and thunderstorms as we head through the next 24 hours. Guys, things begin to improve for us and the Panhandle through the day tomorrow, but it will remain breezy until we get into the day on Friday. Remember, the forecast is on the radio. Our radio partners are the Dove 105.5, the Eagle 107.3, Hitland 106.9 in Sarasota, and Magic 94.9.
Hurricane Michael is getting closer to the Panhandle. This is a live look at the Panhandle in Panama City Beach. The sun is not up yet, but the wind already starting to pick up a little bit. You can see in the tops of those palm trees, not too bad right now. Again, landfall expected between 12 and 3 p.m. today. Hurricane Michael expected to make landfall not far from from Panama City in the Panhandle up there. And despite how dangerous this hurricane is, some people are refusing to evacuate. Officials and first responders are making it clear to them their lives are at risk.
People jump and run, and and they should do that. But we've just been through so many that we're comfortable staying, so we're going to. And we've got enough food and generator, gas.
It's a little nervous, so I figured I better put a little extra effort into it and try to feel a little more comfortable.
First responders from around the country are on their way to help out. Many of them were in the Carolinas just last month for Hurricane Florence. The storm is expected to hit the Carolinas as a weakened storm at some point tomorrow. And we have team coverage of Hurricane Michael spread out across the state this morning. Aubrey Jackson and Ashley Beatty are here in studio answering your questions right now live from our web center on Facebook Live. Jenny Dean is live on Madeira Beach, where the storm surge is already causing problems there, and Beau Zimmer is live in the Panhandle right now, and he is directly in Michael's path, and he begins our storm coverage this morning. Beau, good morning.
Well, good morning, Robin. Yeah, actually still a very calm yet humid morning here in the state capital of Tallahassee. We think back to a year ago as we were dealing with Hurricane Irma, and I just remember back to feeling like we had a lot of time leading up to that storm. For people up here in the state capital and all along the Gulf Coast, along the Panhandle, people feel like this really came up quickly and intensified quickly. For that reason, the city of Tallahassee and really all of state government is shut down. It's really a ghost town out here. You see very few cars on the roadway, an occasional tow truck, maybe the state troopers, but all of state government is shut down. City government here in Tallahassee, the airport shut down at midnight. I know a lot of our parents back in the Tampa Bay area have sons or daughters who may be attending Florida State University. Classes are shut down there. We're actually going to be heading over there for our next location, but I can tell you people are bracing for the worst with this storm as this major hurricane heads our way. Reporting live in Tallahassee, Beau Zimmer, 10 News.
All right, we'll check back in with Beau in just a little bit. The Tampa Bay area saw some serious storm surge at high tide earlier this morning. And Brightside's Jenny Dean is joining us live from Madeira Beach this morning. Jenny, the last high tide around 2:46 a.m.
Yeah, Rob, and it is still, the water's still fairly high. Let me tell you where I am. I am actually standing under Gulf Boulevard on the bridge that goes across Johns Pass. We're getting a little protection from the very heavy rainfall that just started coming down within the last few minutes. But if you just look out onto the water here, this is normally sand right here, almost all the way out to those pillars. And it is now covered with water and very rough waves coming through, splashing up against those rocks. And of course, it was worse just a few hours ago when we were out here. Let me give you an idea. Johns Pass, Hubbard's Marina, right down there. I talked to the guys there. They said it got a little rough around 2:30 this morning, but there was no damage to their boats or anything. They were tied down well. Some water did get into one of the lower outdoor restaurant bars when high tide came through, but all in all, not a whole lot of damage, just seeing some high water. And we did drive around and get a little bit of video of some of the streets that are flooded. 140th Avenue, if you go back in there, a lot of those streets are flooded with about 2 inches of water. It was starting to go down though as the waters start to recede. Hopefully a lot of that will be gone by the time people start to leave for work and by the time rush hour comes through. Of course, we're going to have to deal with it all over again later this afternoon with high tide, but now it's starting to feel more like a tropical storm with the heavy rain and the breezy conditions. We're going to send it back to the studio now to Aubrey and Ashley, who are answering some of your questions about this storm.
Yeah, we're keeping you updated on air and online, all things Hurricane Michael. Now, one thing I want to bring up, Governor Rick Scott is very active on social media right now, tweeting out that if you and your family are planning to shelter in place, make sure that you stay in interior rooms and hallways for the duration of the storm. So he's really giving some really good tips online right now. And then Ashley Beatty, I have her here with us, 10 News meteorologist. One question that we're seeing a lot of on Facebook Live is landfall. Kind of interesting that folks are wanting to know that specifically, Ashley.
Right. So what we define as landfall is when the exact center of the storm actually moves over land. So what we're looking at is, we're kind of estimating here, but movement has been toward the north at about 13 miles an hour, and we're sitting about 130 miles away from the center of the storm in terms of where we're expecting this to make landfall. So we're talking about 10 hours from now, which would put around 3 o'clock. However, we're expecting this to pick up a little bit of speed. So as early as noon, it's a possibility, but early afternoon hours is what we're expecting. But we've kind of been talking about this on Facebook Live, how it's really important not to get too bogged down in terms of technical things like this, because these threats are already beginning across the coast. We're already seeing those elevated water levels as far away as Tampa Bay, as Jenny just showed us. So we're going to see those impacts getting worse through the day. But beyond landfall of the center of this storm, significant flooding, especially in regards to storm surge. We're talking 13 feet in some areas by the latest estimates.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for keeping us updated, Ashley. We're, of course, wanting you guys to continue asking your questions on Facebook Live, and we'll keep you updated as well on that. Rob, what do you have for us?
All right, Aubrey, thank you. Yeah, you can find them on Facebook Live throughout the morning here on our 10 News Facebook page. And due to the rising water with Hurricane Michael, Anna Maria Elementary School will be closed today. All bus service on the island has been canceled. All schools in Citrus County are closed today and tomorrow because of Hurricane Michael. In Pinellas County, schools are open today, and extracurricular activities will not be canceled unless announced by the school. We'll keep an eye on that. If the school district does make any changes to their Hurricane Michael plan, we will let you know immediately on TV, on our website, and of course on our free 10 News app. I want to check in now with Hillary Zala. Hillary, I know a lot of people are going to be keeping a close eye on the Skyway Bridge today.
Oh yeah, so if we reach 40 miles per hour sustained winds, the Skyway Bridge will close. Something that if you live in Pinellas and Manatee County, you're kind of used to. Last year it closed 9 times, not just from weather, but from crashes. Right now it is open. Traffic is moving on it, but if you're in a high-profile vehicle, you'll really want to take it very easy. There is a high wind advisory across the bridge, meaning you might, feel that shaking at the top. Some flooding this morning. Yeah, we are not immune to the flooding from this hurricane. So what's going on here in South Tampa is, of course, the storm surge here. So Bayshore Boulevard is shut down north and southbound between Swan Avenue and Willow Avenue. There's just too much high water here. There's barricades in place so you don't accidentally move through this and get stuck. What you can do is take Dale Mabry Highway to Kennedy Boulevard instead if you're trying to head downtown.
All right, before we go to break, we do want to show you this live look. We're going to continue to do this throughout the broadcast here on Brightside. This is a look just off the Skyway Bridge. You can see it's starting to rain out there. The wipers are already going. Of course, if FHP does close the bridge, Hillary just said they do that when winds reach around 40 miles an hour. Hillary will let you know when that happens, if that does happen today. And of course, she'll let you know any alternative routes to take. Stay with us. Welcome back to Brightside. I'm Rob Finnerty. As we continue to track Hurricane Michael, we are also keeping an eye on some other big stories on this Wednesday morning. A new red tide map will come out a little bit later this afternoon. The last map out Friday showed the bloom around Pinellas County was spreading, but Hurricane Michael could have an impact on that. 145 miles of coastline has been affected by red tide so far this fall. A big contract extension for a big league manager. Kevin Cash has signed on to lead the Tampa Bay Rays through the 2024 season. Cash led the Rays to a 90-win season, which was the most among non-playoff teams this year in baseball. It was also the team's first winning season since 2013. High five to that. And from big contract to big money up for grabs, the Mega Millions jackpot skyrocketed to $548 million after Tuesday night's drawing. That is now the 6th largest jackpot in the game's history. That number will continue to go up. If you settle for the cash payment, it'll be only $309 million. Imagine that. The next drawing is Friday night. 10 News, by the way, your official Florida Lottery station. All right, let's get back to Hurricane Michael right now. We want to get a live look outside. This is Madeira Beach right now. Now, we had a high tide around 2:46 a.m. Right now, the waves not too bad there, but conditions around high tide a few hours ago were worse. We've seen some storm surge in Pinellas County. We'll check in with Jenny Dean in just a little bit, but right now, we do want to check in with Grant Gilmore. He's got more on this storm. We're expecting landfall, Grant, today around between 12 and 3.
Yeah, the storm picking up forward speed, so that's what we're having to kind of give that broader range of when it could make landfall. But just to point out, to talk about Madeira Beach there, even though we're going towards low tide right now, still with the surge and those onshore winds, we'll see the tides 2 to 4 feet above normal. So even though we're going towards low tide, which is at 9:30, just know 2 to 4 feet above normal. So that's the issue with surge here and our rising waters. Downtown St. Pete right now, guys, look at this. Palm trees swaying there. It's gusty, especially when it starts to rain. The winds will pick up. Wind speed sustained in St. Pete now at 24 miles per hour, but we're seeing gusts because of that rain coming through up there around 30 to even 40 miles per hour at times. The last report from Albert Whitted in downtown St. Pete, 35 mile per hour gust. Davis Island's 26 mile per hour gust. You notice you get away from the water, you get away from the wind or the rain, and the wind speeds are letting up. Still, though, out of the southeast in Lakeland at 16 miles per hour. Michael, Category 4 hurricane. Tropical storm force winds extend out 175 miles from the center of the storm. The storm is about 200 miles away from Tampa Bay. We are right on the eastern fringe of that storm, and we're finding those outer bands now beginning to move through Tampa Bay. And within those yellows, oranges, and reds on the radar, that's the heavy rain. That's also where we're going to have the gusty winds between 30 to 40 miles per hour. So this band that's moving through Tampa right now, right into the mouth of the bay, will continue to push to the north-northeast as this all pinwheels around the center of Hurricane Michael. Again, the center of the storm, a good 200 miles west of Tampa Bay. Wind gust here, 35 miles per hour. Wind gust just to the north and east of the storm, 63 miles per hour. Hurricane force winds, 74 miles per hour stronger, extend out about 50 miles from the center of the storm. But notice this, up toward the Panhandle where we're expecting landfall, their wind speeds are increasing, and they will only continue to increase as the storm tracks to the north. Again, moving to the north now at around 13 miles per hour, expecting that landfall between noon and 3 o'clock this afternoon. Unfortunately, it looks like the storm continues to strengthen. The hurricane hunters just penetrated the eye wall of Hurricane Michael over the last 15 minutes. The last time they went through the eye wall, they found wind speeds of 139 miles per hour with stronger gusts. They may find more. We're waiting for that latest report to come in from the hurricane hunters that are currently flying through. But look at this, the Saffir-Simpson wind scale. Michael now 140 miles per hour. 157 miles per hour would make it a Category 5 regardless. Cat 3, 4, or 5, devastating to catastrophic damage, not just from the wind, but also from the surge. So here's the latest track. No real big changes here. The storm will weaken quickly as it moves inland, likely a Cat 4 when it makes landfall, and then as it moves to the north and east, it'll weaken quickly. We'll still see scattered showers and storms. Even though the storm will be moving to the north and east, we'll see those scattered showers and storms, breezy conditions, and that threat for surge as we go through the next 24 hours. The biggest threat for surge, though, obviously near where we're going to see landfall, potentially as high as 13-foot storm surge for the Big Bend area. We'll continue with that 2 to 4-foot storm surge for Tampa Bay. Our next high tide, 403. But again, with this surge and the onshore winds, we could see that surge between 1 to 3 feet, even higher than that 2 to 4 feet higher than normal, even into tomorrow. High tide at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then we'll see another high tide through tomorrow afternoon. But at that point, things should begin to recede, and we'll see conditions improve as we go through the day on Thursday. So a lot of threats here, but gusty winds, heavy rain, maybe a low-grade tornado. It'd be a brief spin up. It wouldn't last long. That's something we'll keep an eye out for along the coast. That storm surge threat, again, increases through high tides through this afternoon, again into tomorrow morning. But again, at any point, tide will be running anywhere between 2 to 4 feet above normal. Just to look at the forecast for today, 80% chance for those scattered storms. Obviously, it's going to be breezy throughout the day. 7-day forecast shows you guys sunshine will return as early as tomorrow afternoon, but definitely enjoying a nice weekend with highs in the upper 80s.
Citrus County has been seeing a lot of flooding this morning. And Grant, I know you said they could experience about 6 to 8 feet of storm surge. Well, this morning in Crystal River, literally just south of the river, there's so much water on Pine Bark Lane at Fort Island Trail, and it's moving so fast that we're being told not even to get near the road, not try to drive through it, of course. And if you live in that area, you're already out. So there's not really a detour for this. This is just to the west of US 98, so towards the bay there. And then south of there, closer to Homosassa Springs, we're being told that Ozella Trail is shut down for high water here. That's also a road that takes you out towards the water that you don't want to be in. And there's no detour for this one either. It's just sort of a single road that heads out towards the water. So just not the place you want to be this morning. Also in Pinellas County, we're seeing the rain coming down here on 275 just south of Roosevelt Boulevard. You can see the droplets on the camera here. So just expect rain this morning for your commute and to be extra cautious there, slowing down, making sure you're not hydroplaning. We do have some flooding, no surprise, in Shore Acres. Some really heavy water actually in some roads. So get out your map. There's lots of side streets you can take around the roads that are flooded. But just a heads up before you head out the door, that's what's going on there. And let's talk about the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. It is open right now. Traffic is moving through it. There is a high wind advisory, though, which means if you're in a high-profile vehicle, something that could easily topple over, you'll really want to slow down. I say 20, 30 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. Here's the deal. If winds get to 40 miles per hour sustained, this bridge will close. It's something I will stay on top of all day for you. Be sure you follow me at 10 News Traffic on Twitter, and you have our 10 News app because we'll push alert that to you, and you'll know as soon as it closes. Rob.
All right, Hillary, thank you. 5:20 the time right now. Hurricane Michael now a Category 4 storm. That happened while you were sleeping. The nearly 400-mile wide storm is barreling toward the Panhandle right now. Along the west coast of the state, storm surge ranges anywhere from 2 to 13 feet, depending on where you live. And right now, this is a live look at a Crystal River in Citrus County, where the storm surge there expected to be between 6 and 8 feet.
Taking a live look from Panama City Beach this morning, where wind speeds only around 12 to 15 miles per hour in Panama City right now. But we're going to continue to see those wind speeds increase as Hurricane Michael approaches the coast later today. In fact, it's right around Panama City Beach where we're expecting landfall later this afternoon, anytime between noon and 3 o'clock this afternoon, when the center of the storm is expected to move in. But obviously impacts already beginning to be felt. All within those bands is where we'll find breezy conditions around 30 to 40 miles per hour, but as you get closer to the storm, wind speeds now at 140 miles per hour. For us here in Tampa Bay, we are finding a few of those outer fringe showers and thunderstorms moving through. Wind gusts could be as high as 40 miles per hour within some of the stronger rain. You head east of I-75. It's just a light sprinkle, but right along the coast, not just the rain, but obviously the surge will be a concern as well as we go throughout the day. Today going towards low tide right now, but we could see those seas anywhere between 2 to 4 feet above normal as we go through the next 24 to 36 hours. Our wind gusts in St. Pete are at 35 miles per hour. A buoy near the center of the storm reporting conditions around 63 mile per hour gusts. That will continue to increase. Again, we'll see scattered showers and storms, breezy conditions, and that threat for coastal surge as we go through the next 36 hours. Rob.
All right, Grant. In just about 3 hours, Governor Rick Scott will give his first update of the day today. Last night, he tweeted that it was the last chance for people to evacuate in the Panhandle. He will be briefed by the State Emergency Operations Center before giving that update. The governor will also be live on CBS this morning at 8:05. Airbnb has activated their disaster response and relief team and open homes program, meaning free temporary housing in Florida, Alabama, and Georgia. The program gives emergency relief workers and volunteers a place to stay without being charged. If you are an Airbnb host and you want to make your home available, just click the Sign Up Your Home tab on the Airbnb website. Hosts can also decide how long they want to list their homes for free in the program activation window. That program ends on October 29th. We posted all that information on our website, WTSP.com, as well as a track of Hurricane Michael if you'd like to check it out. As we head to break right now, we want to show you what the Sunshine Skyway Bridge looks like right now. The rain just started. You can see the wipers going there. Right now, Hurricane Michael has max wind speeds between 130 and 156 miles an hour. We are feeling some of that wind here, although not very much right now, as Grant just said. But if winds do reach 40 miles an hour, FHP will close down the Skyway Bridge, and that could affect you. Hillary will have more on that in just a moment, plus alternative routes.
Looking at a live picture from Panama City this morning where the wind is only going to continue to increase. They're seeing wind speeds there around 10 to 15 miles per hour right now. Pockets of heavy rain moving into the Panhandle, just sort of like what we're seeing. Unfortunately for them, they're going to start seeing conditions rapidly deteriorate throughout the morning toward lunchtime when they're expecting to see the center of the storm pass right through Panama City. A live look from downtown St. Pete right now where we're finding breezy conditions as well. Wind speeds are out of the southeast around 24 miles per hour. It's going to get breezy as those showers and storms move inland. We're finding wind gusts right now around 35 miles per hour. Hurricane Michael, a Category 4 hurricane now and expected to continue to strengthen as it approaches the coast.
I am really watching our bridges this morning. This is a live look at the Howard Franklin Bridge where we're seeing some waves from the bay come onto the bridge a little bit off on the shoulder. Rob.
All right, Hillary, the storm has closed all schools in Citrus County, but Pinellas and Hillsborough students still have class today. And we have 10 News meteorologist Ashley Beatty tracking Hurricane Michael, along with our social media anchor Aubrey Jackson, keeping up with all your questions online so we can answer them for you in real time live. All you've got to do to connect with them is log on to our 10 News Facebook page and you can get involved with that Facebook Live. They've been doing that for the last hour plus. Good morning. It is Wednesday, October the 10th. Brightside starts right now.
Michael strengthening this morning, became a Category 4 hurricane overnight. Wind speeds now at 140 miles per hour, but wind gusts within the center of the storm have been found to be around 165 miles per hour. It's moving to the north at 13 miles per hour. Pressure continues to drop, which is an indication that some strengthening is expected. Here we are, a good 200 miles to the east of the center of the storm and still feeling the impacts, not just in the way of rain and gusty winds, but also some surge. Started to see some of that coastal flooding yesterday afternoon. We're seeing it still this morning and we'll likely continue to see that threat for coastal flooding as we go through the next 24 hours. Finding some of that heavier rainfall moving through St. Pete right now into Pinellas County. That's where we'll find those wind gusts likely between 30 to 40 miles per hour. Stronger winds closer to the storm. The last report from a buoy to the north and east still sustained winds around 51 miles per hour. Hurricane force winds, so 74 miles per hour or stronger, extend about 50 miles from the center of the storm, but it's within that core, in that eye wall, is where we're finding those wind speeds in excess of 140 miles per hour. So the storm tracks to the north-northeast, likely making landfall between Panama City and Destin, Florida, between noon and 3 o'clock this afternoon, likely as a Category 4 hurricane with wind speeds of 145 miles per hour. The storm will weaken as it moves farther inland. Storm surge, a huge concern for them. We'll have a 2 to 4 foot storm surge possible as we go through the next 24 to 36 hours, but you head up toward the Big Bend area. Guys, 9 to 13 feet. Think about that. Think about a basketball hoop, okay? 10 foot. So you're talking about water rising more than how high a basketball hoop is, and that's going to be just one of their threats that they'll be working with. The Futurecast will show you as they go through the day, their conditions deteriorate. We will continue to see scattered showers and storms on and off throughout the day. Breezy conditions outside of the rain, but then inside the showers and storms, we'll have windy conditions gusting up to around 35 to 40 miles per hour. We'll see still a chance for a few stray showers as we go into tomorrow morning, but conditions really begin to improve as we go into tomorrow afternoon, and that'll make way for what should be a very nice weekend. But in the time right now, working with a potentially catastrophic hurricane heading toward the Florida coast.
All right, Grant, we are continuing our live team coverage right now. Brightside reporter Sarah Rosario and Beau Zimmer are both covering the storm for us. Sarah is in Crystal River in Citrus County, where schools are closed for the storm. The storm surge there could reach 8 feet today, and Beau Zimmer is up in the Panhandle in the state capital of Tallahassee. Beau, right now, really the calm before the storm, but things, especially there, are only going to get worse throughout the day.
Well, you're absolutely right about that. We've actually moved over to Florida State University. Boy, I went to the University of Florida, but what a gorgeous campus this is. Obviously, it's early in the morning, but I have not seen a soul, not a single person here on campus, but just beautiful buildings. I would have to say this might be one of the safest places to be in Tallahassee. These are, incredibly strong structures. The university is closed down through the rest of the week, but you have to remember there are a lot of students that live on campus and off campus. The dorms are remaining open, and then the university has also opened up a shelter at the Tucker Center for any students who may live off campus and may feel insecure wherever they happen to be living. We actually happen to be standing right under the air raid siren for tornadoes and other severe weather. So if something's coming our way, we'll know about it. We can see the clouds just racing by up there. But so far, calm conditions here in Tallahassee, but that is expected to change very quickly as we move into the later morning hours. Reporting live in Tallahassee at Florida State University, Beau Zimmer, 10 News.
All right, Beau, thank you. Hurricane Michael has become a very fast-moving storm since we first started following its progress. It's prompted evacuation orders all along Florida's Gulf Coast, including in the northern parts of the Bay Area in our viewing area. So good morning to everybody in Citrus, Hernando, and Pasco counties right now. And Brightside Sarah Rosario is live in Citrus County, where storm surge, Sarah, that is the big threat there today.
Yeah, Rob, it's something we've been paying close attention to. We've been out here since yesterday. The National Hurricane Center is projecting a storm surge of 6 to 8 feet here in Crystal River where we are right now. Guess what? It is high tide right now happening at 5:33 a.m. If you take a look behind me, this is about as high as the water's going to get. But yesterday we were out here around 11 o'clock. Water was much lower. You could actually see grass underneath where this water is right now. So it is rising, and then around noon today that's when we will see our low tide. Yesterday during high tide, the water was rising so quickly we actually had to change our live shot locations because the water was already lapping over the road and we were worried we weren't going to be able to get out. It's why emergency officials are telling people to take advantage of some of the shelters that they have all across our area. We have about 4 shelters across Citrus County, and even a pet-friendly one and another one for people with special needs. While the storm is moving fast, officials advise bringing your medication for at least 5 days because there's no telling how long this high water will stick around. Sandbag locations are also available. They were very busy yesterday as well. There is a 25 limit sandbag per person. So for people who live near the coast, there's an evacuation order in place for people who live near mobile homes as well. Several people I spoke to, like a man named Dennis Ackerman, he says he plans to wait out the storm.
Because I got nowhere to go and I don't think it's going to be that bad, but
Have you been through hurricanes before here?
Yes.
How's it been?
Well, Hermine, we got about 4 feet of water. It's just up onto the porch. And last year we had a lot of wind damage.
And when we talk about high tide here, officials saying we're only seeing about levels just about 2 feet above normal right now. So this is something we're going to be keeping an eye on as this day continues and as the storm continues to pass through our area. We are in a mandatory evacuation zone, Zone A. That impacts anyone who lives west of US 19, also people who live in mobile homes. Government officials say for people who don't heed the warnings, first responders will not be available to help you if things really get bad. Reporting live in Citrus County, Sarah Rosario, back to you.
All right, Sarah, thank you. Our hearts go out to everybody that's going to be affected by this storm over the next 48 hours. At the top of the hour, we told you that schools in Citrus County are closed today because of Hurricane Michael. Many are now being used as shelters, including Lecanto Middle School and Citrus High Schools. They'll be used for the general population. Lecanto Primary School is pet-friendly, and Forest Ridge Elementary is equipped for people with special needs. We've got all that information on our website as well. And even though we will miss the worst of Hurricane Michael here in the Bay Area, Hillsborough County declared a local state of emergency and partially activated their Emergency Operations Center. The partial activation allows county agencies to monitor the storm and track and coordinate resources and operations if that becomes necessary. Pasco County is doing something very similar right now. The EOC there is under a level 2 activation. The county issued a local state of emergency to allow officials to order evacuations, make emergency purchases, hire workers, and use volunteers to ensure the safety of the public. Hillary?
Rob, it is 5:39 and FDOT just changed the camera angle on me here on the Howard Franklin Bridge. But I just want you to know that on portions of the bridge where there's the shoulder and then a big grassy median and then some more pavement, there's some waves from the bay kind of knocking onto that area. So not on the main travel lanes, but it's just something that I'm monitoring for you. The Howard Franklin is looking good, though, with a travel time of 6 minutes. The other bridge I'm really watching even more closely is the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. So you can see the rain coming down pretty heavy here, even seeing some standing water a little bit on the shoulders of the Skyway Bridge, which tends to happen. So please be careful. Hydroplaning is always an issue here. But here's the deal. The bridge is open, but what you'll see on the big signs before getting onto the bridge in bright letters is high wind advisory. That means that if you're in a high profile vehicle that sort of easily could topple over, you'll want to be extra careful on the Skyway Bridge. Now, if the bridge sees winds at that height at 40 miles per hour sustained, they'll close it down, which quite possibly could happen later today. So that's something that I'll stay on top of for you.
All right, Hillary, we are staying on top of Hurricane Michael this morning here on Brightside. We want to show you a live picture on the right-hand side of your screen. That is Crystal River in Citrus County, where we just had Sarah Rosario. And we're showing you this. I know it says there, it says Crystal River. We're showing you this because we just got an update from Grant Gilmore. The storm surge in Citrus County in the Crystal River area has been lowered slightly. So now it is at 4 to 6 feet and not 8 feet. So not great news, but some better news than we had just moments ago. And on the left-hand side of your screen, that is 10 News meteorologist Ashley Beatty and our social media anchor Aubrey Jackson. They are live on our 10 News Facebook page, Facebook Living, answering any questions you might have about the hurricane. So to find them, just log on to Facebook, find 10 News, and they are there taking all your questions. Stay with Brightside. We'll be back in 3 minutes. Good morning. Welcome back to Brightside on this Wednesday morning. We want to give you a live look out of Madeira Beach in Pinellas County this morning. Right now, pretty calm out there. It doesn't look really bad at all in Madeira Beach, but we do have a high tide coming at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Storm surge is going to be a factor in the Bay Area, and certainly as you make your way north, Pasco, Hernando, Citrus, into the Big Bend area, and obviously in the Panhandle, where Hurricane Michael is set to make landfall, Grant, between 12 and 3 today.
Right, yeah. You know, the hurricane, because it's fluctuating in strength and the speed is changing a little bit, it's hard to pin down exactly when the center of the storm will move inland. But before, if it's 12 or 3 o'clock, it really doesn't matter. Conditions are going to be absolutely dangerous at that time. Wind speeds probably in excess of 140 miles per hour. It's breezy here in St. Pete, and we're a good 200 miles from the center of the storm. Wind speeds in St. Pete around 24 miles per hour. That's sustained winds. Wind gusts in St. Pete and around the Tampa Bay area are around 35 miles per hour. Sustained at 17 in Clearwater, gusts up to around 23. Tampa International seeing wind speeds sustained at 13, gusting to 21 miles per hour. You're going to get the strongest winds here with the heavy rain. You'll notice it comes in waves, both the rain and the wind, but those gusty winds that we're finding moving through St. Pete up towards Pinellas Park, heading towards Safety Harbor, just know it'll be brief. The rain and the wind will pick up and then it will move out. It'll still be a little breezy in between these bands of showers, but it's within that heavy rainfall where we'll get those wind gusts approaching 35 to 40 miles per hour. All right, Hurricane Michael, guys, here it is, the big picture. Wind speeds 140 miles per hour. Wind gusts have been found up to around 165 miles per hour. Generally within about 50 miles from the center of the storm. There's your eye. That's your eye wall with the very strong winds and the heavy rain right around the center of the storm. But up toward the Panhandle, Panama City getting similar conditions to what we're seeing now. Gusty winds, wind gusts there around 33 miles per hour in Apalachicola, but where we're just going to see consistent conditions like what we're seeing right now, obviously their conditions deteriorate rapidly as they go throughout the morning as Michael approaches the coast. Hurricane hunters have been flying in the storm, still doing one of the reconnaissance missions. There's one of the highest wind speeds they found. That's what bumped it up to the current status that it is now at 140 miles per hour, which is what they found. And it's expected to actually strengthen slightly as it heads towards the coast. This is the latest track. Once it moves inland, it will weaken quickly, but still bring gusty winds and very heavy rainfalls to some parts of the south and east. The area in red there, that's your hurricane force winds with tropical storm force winds extending up to 175 miles from the center of the storm right around noon. There you see it right along Panama City to Destin. That's the area where the center of the storm will move ashore. It will then track to the north-northeast. Now, the core of the winds will shrink as it moves through, but still a fairly large area of gusty winds, heavy rainfall. They could see damage, not to mention moving over an area that got a lot of rainfall from Florence just a couple of weeks ago. Surge, that's another issue with this, and we'll see 2 to 4 foot surge. We're seeing that now. Good news up towards Crystal River. Your forecast for surge a little bit lower, still potentially as high as 6 feet, but 9 to 13 foot storm surge possible in the Big Bend area of Florida, even up towards Panama City, 6 to 9 foot surge. It's that onshore flow on the east side of the storm that produces that push of that water toward the coast. Back here in Tampa Bay, let's talk about the threats that we're expecting. I think anywhere between now and around 5 o'clock this afternoon, that will be the highest threat for our gusty winds and heavy rain. I'm going to keep a low threat for a very isolated and weak tornado around as we go through 5 o'clock, just with some of those outer bands. You typically could get a brief spin up, but also with the surge threat with those high tides, 4 o'clock this afternoon, again into around 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll have to watch out for some coastal flooding. 7-day forecast, things improve through the day tomorrow. We'll give way to mostly sunny skies by Friday, an isolated shower possible. Your weekend not looking too bad, mostly sunny with mainly dry conditions.
It is 5:48 and we're seeing flooding in South Tampa on Bayshore Boulevard. So one spot where the water is pretty high is between Swan Avenue and Willow Avenue, and there are barricades in place to make sure that you don't drive through that high water. And you know, the detour here is Kennedy Boulevard to the north. That is a good option for you this morning, especially if you're about to head out the door. There's not too much heavy traffic at this point because it is before 6 o'clock. So I also want to just bring your attention to the Sunshine Skyway Bridge where the rain is coming down pretty heavy here. This is 275 just south of the North Toll Plaza before getting onto the bridge. Here's your travel time to cross, 15 minutes, and that's between Pinellas Point Drive down to 75 in Manatee County. Of course, the bridge is still open, but there is a high wind advisory across it. So especially if you drive a semi or any big vehicle, you'll want to be extra cautious. Let's talk about Citrus County, where there's some flooding this morning that has some roads closed. So to the west of US 98, which is this road right here, so going towards the water, we have Pine Bark Lane and Fort Island Trail shut down. That's a road that takes you out towards the water, and the water is rushing so fast on that road that it's very dangerous to even go near it. So please be safe and don't try to go on Pine Bark Lane. There really isn't a detour, but you shouldn't be going towards that area anyway.
Thanks so much. So we're keeping you guys updated on air and online on all things Hurricane Michael, and we're getting some really good questions on our Facebook Live right now. I have 10 News meteorologist Ashley Beatty here. Ashley, one question that we're getting, folks are concerned when they hear that now Michael has strengthened to Category 4. Folks are wondering, can it get even stronger?
So I think there is a little bit of a potential for this to strengthen somewhat. Not anticipating huge bumps, because what's going to happen is it's going to make landfall later today, and we're kind of running out of time. That said, we've got 140-mile-an-hour winds with this. 145, maybe as much as 150 wouldn't surprise me. We could see a little bit more strengthening. This storm system still looks pretty healthy, but 157 is the cutoff for Category 5. That's going to be a bit of a stretch. So thankfully, we're not looking at that. However, the impacts, doesn't matter, 4 or 5, significant, especially for the Panhandle, where we've got evacuation orders for storm surges that in some spots could reach as much as 13 feet.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for that update, Ashley. Of course, you guys continue to send in your questions on our Facebook Live, and we'll keep you updated on air and online as well.
All right, Aubrey, Ashley, thank you so much. Remember, you can watch that Facebook Live on our 10 News Facebook page. This is a live shot we want to show you at a Crystal River in Citrus County. Now, the water might appear to be really calm. The wind not blowing too much up there right now. Schools are closed today in Citrus County. They're being used as shelters. Many of them are, but the storm surge is one of the big threats up there. Storm surge in Citrus County could reach up to 6 feet. Welcome back to Brightside. We want to show you a live pic of some of the effects of Hurricane Michael right now. A Category 4 storm. If you are just joining us on the left side of your screen, that is Madeira Beach. Doesn't look too bad there. Storm surge is a threat even in the immediate Tampa Bay area as well as our northern counties. On the right-hand side of your screen, those wipers have increased throughout the show. That is the Skyway Bridge, still open and running. Hillary Zala keeping a close eye on the Skyway Bridge as we make our way through the morning here. Let's check in with Grant. Grant, your heart just goes out to everyone that's kind of in this storm's path right now. You hope that people took those evacuation warnings seriously and got out okay.
And that's all you can do. You just have to hope that everybody heeded the warnings, because at this point it's too late. I mean, if they're waking up this morning, they can still get out. Get out. Yeah. If you've got family there, tell them to move it, because this is a potentially catastrophic storm, and you hate to see it hitting anywhere. Especially here in our home state, guys. Back home in Tampa Bay, we are finding some scattered showers and storms this morning, most of which are along and west of I-75. This is the eastern fringe of Michael, Category 4 hurricane. Like Rob just mentioned, wind speeds at 140 miles per hour moving to the north. We're expecting landfall near Panama City around lunchtime today, likely seeing wind speeds between 140 to potentially as high as 150 miles per hour. Guys, we're going to continue to track this thing all the way through.
Okay. All right, Grant. Live look at the Skyway Bridge again there, Hillary. The bridge still open. They will shut that down if winds reach 40 miles an hour. 40
miles per hour sustained. And Grant, is that something that is most likely today?
More likely seeing gusts up to around 40. Sustained is going to be tough.
Okay.
Okay. Stay with us, guys. A lot more on Hurricane Michael as Brightside continues here at 6 o'clock. We'll be right back.